Hey everyone, in this video, I'm going to talk about the laws in the United States governing your ability to restrict patients from leaving negative reviews. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John Lin, your humble host of the Thriving Urology Practice Facebook group. Welcome the new members who have just joined us. Thank you so much for joining us and being part of the group. And if you know someone who works in the urologic field, feel free to invite them to join us in the fun and frivolities. And if you have any questions during this live stream, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And if you're watching this on the replay, I welcome any questions and comments. So for those of you who watched my live presentation virtually, actually, a couple of weeks ago through the 2021 American Urologic Association's kickoff, their annual meeting kickoff, I spoke about how to manage negative online reviews. And you may be wondering, well, why can't we just eliminate the reviews and prevent the patients from leaving reviews in the first place, right? Simple. Have that provision in your contract with the patient and say that you cannot leave any disparaging remarks regarding our products or services, right? You may be thinking that might be an easy fix. Well, not so fast, because in the Federal Trade Commission's on their website, there is something called the Consumer Review Fairness Act. And I'm going to go over the provisions in this act, what you need to know regarding what you can or cannot restrict patients from writing about you. So the CRFA, Consumer Review Fairness Act, protects the consumer's ability to share their honest opinions about a business's product, services, or conduct in any forum, including social media. On this website, it's going to talk about ways that you can be compliant with CRFA. So what kind of reviews does the law protect? It protects a broad variety of honest consumer assessments, including online reviews, social media posts, uploaded photos, videos, etc. And it doesn't just cover product reviews. It also applies to consumer evaluation of your customer service. And that is typically why patients gripe about us. It's about the service that we provide. It could be the front desk, it could be the back office, or it could be the physician's provider's provision of services. And what does this prohibit? This is the important thing for all of us to understand and be aware of. The act makes it illegal for a practice or company to use a contract provision that bars or restricts the ability of a person who is a party to that contract to review a company's products, services, or conduct. Meaning you can't have on your website as a terms of service that you are saying that, hey, if you use our service or product, if you use the website, you cannot write a negative review on us. Secondly, the Consumer Review Fairness Act also prevents the imposition of a penalty or fee against someone who gives you a review, or it prohibits the requisition of people to give up their IP, intellectual property rights, in the content of their reviews. All right, so what other specific conduct is prohibited by the statute? The CRFA makes it illegal for companies to include standardized provisions that threaten or penalize people for posting honest reviews. For example, in an online transaction, it would be illegal for a company to include a provision in its terms and conditions that prohibits or punishes negative reviews by customers. Of course, the law doesn't apply to employment contracts or agreements with independent contractors, but keep that in mind. Even if it's an online transaction, it could be telemedicine, for instance, in our case, it prohibits you to have a provision in your terms and conditions that prevents patients from leaving you a negative review. So what can you do as a practice to protect yourself from inappropriate or irrelevant content? The law says that it's okay to prohibit or remove a review that, number one, contains confidential or private information. For instance, your practice's financial or confidential proprietary information about your trade secrets, etc. Or number two is libelous, harassing, abusive, obscene, vulgar, or sexually explicit, or is inappropriate with respect to race, gender, sexuality, ethnicity, or other intrinsic characteristic. Number 3, your company can protect itself from inappropriate or irrelevant content if the content is unrelated to the company's product or service. For instance, if you're a urology practice and the person reviewing you is talking about how your apples tasted horrible, obviously that will be unrelated to your product or service. Number 4, you can also prevent or protect yourself from inappropriate or irrelevant content if the content is clearly false or misleading. But it is unlikely, the FTC says, it is unlikely that a consumer's assessment or opinion with which you disagree meets the clearly false or misleading standard. And you may be thinking, oh, okay, well, great. You know, the act is there. So what, right? You've got the provisions, you got the ways that the consumers can or is protected and how you're protected. So what if you do not follow the CRFA's provisions? Well, there's a stick associated with non-compliance of these provisions. What's the penalty for violating the CRFA? Congress gave enforcement authority to the FTC and the state AG, attorneys general. It specifies that a violation of the CRFA will be treated the same as violating an FTC rule defining an unfair or deceptive act or practice. That means your company, your practice could be subject to financial penalties as well as a federal court order. So this is not some sort of thing that you can't ignore. And, you know, the best counter to these negative reviews is really to capture the reviews that are favorable to you, because as a medical practice, there's really no counter because we are kind of hamstrung. We have our hands tied behind our backs due to HIPAA. We cannot talk about protected health information of the complainant, if that complainant is even a patient of yours, right? So really the only counter is to capture positive reviews, because more of your patients are happy with your services than the very few who are unhappy. All right, any questions or comments? Again, leave them below. I would love to hear your thoughts about the FTC's CRFA and your experience regarding handling and management of online reviews. Take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.